student data privacy law passed both the House and the Senate unanimously last session and was signed into law in late May. At a recent ceremonial bill signing, Governor Walz, lawmakers, and advocates gathered to celebrate.
Many of us learned in some of our introductory history classes, Tinker versus Des Moines, the idea that the Supreme Court made clear that students do not give up their constitutional right at the schoolhouse door. And this issue, especially with an electronic world of protecting that data, is of utmost importance. And so this group of bipartisan legislators came together to make sure this data is important. It's important how we deliver services, it's important how we track students on their progress, those types of things. But it has to be equally important that that data is protected and private and belongs to the students.
We all know that students right now, and have for several years, been doing a lot of their homework, a lot of their daily schoolwork online. And we wanted to make sure that that data was protected, that that data belonged to the students, that it didn't belong to the tech companies.
You know, we're in an age where it's just amazing how fast technology is growing and the advancements that tech companies are making and the changes that schools have been adapting to more and more in recent years. And it's growing faster than probably anyone would have realized. And this is to make sure that we have some guardrails in place for our students and for parents to protect our kids, to make sure that data is used for the purpose that it's designed for, to help with their best educational efforts.
I'm so thrilled about this bill. I always tell people that it is the most exciting, meaningful bill that has ever passed unanimously in both bodies. It is truly a profound step forward, and it is a nation-leading bill that will protect student data privacy.
This bill, through the years, has sat in the subcommission of data practices, and you know that's a very bipartisan commission, and I hope this is that nudge that members that are returning need to get some of this stuff done in this issue, because technology is just leaps and bounds ahead of our privacy.
Senator Karla Bigham was one of the champions of the Student Data Privacy Act, and she joins me now in the studio. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
There have been efforts for several years now to modernize and strengthen protections for student data in this digital age. Those efforts resulted in this new law. And first off, is Minnesota a leader in this area?
Yeah, this is a big step forward and we have more to do, but absolutely. I mean, we went from basically having nothing protecting student information to having a pretty significant protection and barriers around what can be done and what cannot be done with data. I mean, there's no way around it. You shouldn't have to choose between going to a public school and protecting your kids' data.
For sure. I recall a few years ago when it became known that some of the smart technology that people have in their homes was secretly recording their conversations or filming them or compiling other information about them without their knowledge. It made me wonder if during the pandemic, when students were learning at home and perhaps even still with those school-issued devices, was that going on then, and could it still be going on now?
I certainly think so. I mean, the whole premise of this case was when students were using these apps, all of a sudden, in the not so distant future, they were getting solicitations in magazines and stuff for like yoga equipment if they were using an app to learn yoga, or whatever else they were learning that day. Sometimes they would just be solicited for commercial products, and that's just creepy and wrong. And that's what this bill does, is it really says you can't do that. And so I hope it's not happening anymore, and we're going to make sure of that with this bill.
Well, and certainly there will be recourse if people find that it is happening. As you know, data is money, and businesses want accurate profiles to be able to market their products. But when it comes to children's educational data, if a third party is learning about a student's academic strengths and weaknesses and likes and dislikes, it seems to me anyway that this is very private data. It goes to the privacy that we would expect even of medical information. Is educational aptitude akin to medical information, and should it be protected as such?
I think so, and that's one of the reasons why I was very happy we had this discussion in the Data Practices Commission. Very few pieces of legislation actually make it through that commission. It's bipartisan, bicameral. I think in my 5 years of being here, I only recall one other piece getting through, and that was on drones, when we had like 0 protections on drones. And so really what you explain is why we want to pass these laws, because data is really ahead and technology is really ahead of us. And this brings us a step closer to protect that information that I do think is very personal. And a family gets to decide, what if any assistance is needed with a student's education, or that should be between the teacher, the parent, and the student.
One new thing that this law does is prohibit government agencies and technology providers from accessing or monitoring certain features of school-issued devices. Is there anything about this that parents need to be aware of?
I would just always check the settings and really understand the device and the apps that your child is learning through the school. This really gives parents a voice in what materials and applications are being used. We did not include it for like taking attendance, the app for taking attendance, or your bus route, or some of those administrative, where your grades are, administrative stuff. But the applications that really data goes back and forth and is saved and all of that, it really needs to be protected. And I would just, as a parent, learn the settings of the app, make sure they're set to your satisfaction, and you should report it if you think something is going on.
Is there something more that the schools then should even possibly do to be communicating with the parents about how, for the well-being, the mental well-being of parents to know?
Yeah, absolutely. And we had a broad group of stakeholders. And so we received a lot of feedback on this bill, and that is one thing that I think is very important. The schools are responsible for accepting a contract, for these apps. So really being involved in making sure that the quality assurance is there for these apps is very important, and that's on the parents and the students. And I really just think that the schools need to communicate their process. If there's a complaint or a compliment, if you like it better than one that was previously used, you feel more secure. It's always good to say that too, and send that along.
Does this law apply only to public schools?
Yes,
or is
only
it all
to public schools and not higher ed.
And not higher education.
Yep.
Our schools, our students, frankly, me, all of us adults rely heavily on technology now, and I think you said it really well at the press conference. The tech industry is leaps and bounds ahead of our privacy.
Absolutely.
How far does this law go in catching us up?
Well, it gets us closer. Are we ever going to be caught up with this? I mean, I don't know. I can't keep up with all the different versions of the iPhone. I mean, so I think I really hope the cooperation that this bill showed. The ACLU and education advocates, parents, data privacy advocates, all got together for the same reason and got this done. And I really hope this sets an example for us to deal with AI, facial recognition, and other just normal social networking, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, all those. I really hope we can have conversations in the future about protecting that data, because it gets in the wrong hands, it's a problem.
The law tells tech providers that they must destroy or return data after a contract expires and prohibits the sale or use of the data for commercial purposes. Mm-hmm. What happens if they don't? How would anyone even necessarily know? So
Chapter 13, which is current law, protecting data, and also has penalties, civil penalties, criminal penalties, all that, for violating any of those chapters would basically, this would fall under that. But always file complaints with the school district if you're a parent or a student. And you always can go to the Attorney General, Department of Commerce, to really let your voice be heard that you think that this business is doing something shady.
Senator Karla Bigham, thank you.
Thank you.